Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about something that has become so woven into the fabric of modern eating that most people no longer notice it, and that invisibility is precisely what makes it so damaging. Not food that is obviously bad. Not junk food in the traditional sense, the kind you know you shouldn't eat and eat anyway. I'm talking about the food that presents itself as normal, as healthy, as convenient, as modern nutrition. The protein bar with 23 ingredients. The low-fat yogurt sweetened with sucralose. The whole grain bread that contains more additives than a candy bar. The oat milk with stabilizers and seed oils. The diet snack that fits perfectly into your calorie app but does not resemble anything that ever grew from the ground or walked on it. This is the category of food I want to talk about today, not because it tastes bad or looks suspicious, but because of what it is doing to your gut, your hormones, and your long-term biological resilience in ways that are now backed by a growing and increasingly alarming body of research. Let me start with the gut lining because everything else follows from there. According to research, commonly used food emulsifiers, carboxymelchelase and polysorbate 80, both found in hundreds of processed food products, directly degrade the gut mucus layer at concentrations comparable to typical daily intake. In one study, animals exposed to these emulsifiers, at doses reflecting human consumption, showed measurable mucus layer thinning, bacterial penetration toward the epithelial surface, and elevated intestinal inflammatory markers within weeks. The gut was not reacting to a toxin. It was reacting to ingredients in foods that are legally classified as safe. The mucus layer thins gradually. Bacterial populations shift slowly. Gut permeability increases incrementally. None of this produces a specific, identifiable symptom in the early stages. It produces the vague, deniable, background dysregulation that most people chalk up to stress, age, or simply their body being sensitive. By the time symptoms become consistent and undeniable, the bloating that doesn't go away, the fatigue that doesn't lift, the food sensitivities that keep multiplying, the underlying structural change has been accumulating for months or years. Your gut bacteria are ecosystem organisms. They respond to dietary inputs the way any ecosystem responds to environmental change, gradually, but with compounding consequences. A diverse, whole food diet feeds a wide range of bacterial species simultaneously, maintaining the microbial balance that regulates immune function, neurotransmitter production, hormone metabolism, and gut barrier integrity. A diet dominated by ultra-processed products, regardless of its caloric or macronutrient profile, systematically reduces that diversity. What does a depleted microbiome actually produce as lived experience? It produces a serotonin signal that is less stable because the gut bacteria responsible for tryptophan conversion and serotonin precursor availability are diminished. It produces more reactive immune responses because the regulatory bacterial populations that calibrate immune tolerance are reduced. It produces less butyrate, the short-chain fatty acid that protects the gut lining, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and has direct anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects. And it produces a gut that is increasingly reactive to foods it once tolerated, because the ecosystem that maintained tolerance has been dismantled. Fake foods are specifically engineered to override your body's appetite regulation. The bliss point, the precise combination of sugar, fat, salt, and flavor intensity that maximizes reward while minimizing satiety, is a documented product development target, not an accidental feature. According to research, ultra-processed foods activate the same dopamine reward pathways as other reinforcing substances, producing a conditioned wanting that is neurologically distinct from genuine hunger. Each exposure reinforces the circuit. The brain begins to anticipate the reward before the food is even consumed, and the natural satiety signals, the leptin response, the cholecystokin release, the vagal fullness signal, are consistently bypassed by a product engineered to make stopping feel unnatural. In one study, participants given unrestricted access to ultra-processed foods consumed significantly more calories daily than those offered whole food alternatives matched for macronutrient composition, not because they were hungrier, but because the food's design prevented the normal experience of being satisfied. Satiety was engineered out of the product, and the person consuming it had no way of knowing that what they experienced as ongoing appetite was the product working exactly as intended. The word fake is deliberate, because these products are not food in the biological sense of the word. Food, in the context of human evolution, is something that delivers nutrients, feeds the gut ecosystem, maintains the gut lining, supports hormonal signaling, and satisfies the body's genuine needs. Ultra-processed products do some of these things partially and none of them fully. They are simulations of food, designed to produce the sensory experience of eating without delivering the biological substrate that eating is supposed to provide. And a body that is fed simulations, consistently, over years, does not receive what it needs to maintain the systems that keep it functional. It does not break down dramatically. It breaks down the way any system breaks down under chronic undernourishment, slowly, quietly, in ways that are easy to misattribute, until the cumulative weight of them becomes impossible to ignore. Not supplements. Not functional snacks with added probiotics. Real food, the kind that has one ingredient. The kind that goes bad. The kind that your gut bacteria recognize and know what to do with. I hope this gave you a clear picture of what has been quietly happening. Drop a comment and tell me what your diet looks like day to day. I genuinely want to know. If this resonated, hit the like button and share it with someone whose gut has been trying to tell them something for a long time. And if you're new to Nutriflow, subscribe and hit the bell. This is exactly what we do here. See you in the next one.